So this is one of the companies that is going to ride through the wave of artificial intelligence. What's up? In today's video, I'm going to share with you a list of the best 5 shares that you can buy today here in Kenya. And I made this list based on the dividend history of these companies and also the growth potential of each and every company. Not forgetting that all these companies are the top performing companies in their various sectors, from telecommunication, manufacturing, and also the banking sector. And we're gonna see the share price performance of each and every company since their date of inception, and also their dividend history, that is how much they have paid as dividends for the last 5 years or so, and finally their dividend yield. So utilize this video to gain some insight on what to look at when it comes to choosing the best shares to buy here in Kenya. And I'll appreciate if you like and also subscribe to this channel in order for you to learn more about investing in the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And before we get started, I just want to tell you that this video is only for educational purpose, so don't take it as a financial advice. Always do your due diligence and also consult with your financial advisor before you invest in the stock market. And without further ado, let's get started. And we're gonna start with an household name, and that is Safaricom. Safaricom is the top performing company when it comes to telecommunication here in Kenya. And as you can see, the share price of this company has been on the upward trajectory, except on 2021 to 2024, where the share price dropped. And this was the best opportunity to invest in this share. So in 2023 October, the share price was sitting at 12.4 Kenya shillings, which was the best time to invest in. And the all-time high was in September 2021, and it was retailing at 42 Kenya shillings 50 cents. And as you can see right now, it's retailing at 28 Kenya shillings. So why should you invest in Safaricom? One thing about Safaricom is that this is one of the company we believe that is capable of investing into the current trend of AI. And recently they have added the number of data centers. So this is one of the companies that is going to ride through the wave of artificial intelligence. And currently they have a market capitalization of 1.11 trillion Kenya shillings and a dividend yield of 4.29. Let's now see the dividend history of this company, how much Safaricom has been paying as dividend for the last 5 years. And this is where you can see the dividend history of Safaricom. Since 2018, they have been paying dividends up to last year, and even recently they have announced their dividends. So in 2018, they started with a 1.25 dividend. In 2019, it was 1.40. In 2020, it was 1.37, and last year it was 1.2 Kenya shillings. So you can see that this company has been consistently paying dividend. And the last dividend payment was on August 2025, and they paid a dividend of 0.5 Kenya shillings. And this is the final dividend after an interim of 0.55 in March 2025. That was the interim dividends. So they pay interim and then final dividend. And what I know about Safaricom is that there is no other competitor that can compete with Safaricom. And let's see the financial performance of this company before we go into the market dominance and also the growth catalyst, what is making this company to grow. So Safaricom delivered exceptional results this year, with revenue growing by 11.2% to 388.7 billion and net income increasing by 10.8% to Kenya shillings 69.8 billion. And this company also achieved a significant milestone by crossing the $3 billion revenue threshold. And in terms of market dominance, this is one of the Kenyan largest company with a market capitalization of 1.12 trillion. And Safaricom maintains an assailable position in telecommunication with that 7.1 million active customers. And also M-Pesa now contributes 41.5% of total group revenue, reinforcing its fintech leadership. And I prefer Safaricom shares because these are companies that has the capital to invest in AI and data centers. And let's now see the growth catalyst of this company. The company is diversifying into wealth management through the CD Money Market Fund, which has already pulled 7.45 billion Kenya shillings, and also Ethiopia expansion remains a key long-term growth driver despite the current losses, with the operation expected to break even in 2027. So they have already entered another market. So We expect that their share price will also rise back to their all-time high of 42 Kenyan shillings. So when it comes to investing in a share, see the growth potential, and Safaricom is one of the shares you can have a look at. And let's now go into our second best share that you can buy today in Kenya, and that is the KCB Group share. And the reason why you should invest in KCB is because of their strong banking fundamental. KCB maintains its position as one of the Kenya's largest bank with robust capital buffer, core capital to risk-weighted assets at 16.5% and total capital at 18.1%. The bank has a favorable loan-to-deposit ratio of 62.5%, providing significant leading headroom. So this is one of the companies in the banking sector that has a favorable and also the highly rated loan to deposit ratio. And let's see the performance of KCB share since their date of inception. So with the current share price of KCB retailing at 57 Kenyan shillings, you can wait for some pullback in order to enter into the position of buying this share. And the all-time high for this company was at 63 Kenyan shillings back in 2015. And that is around 10 years ago. So there's a probability that the share price of KCB will go back to Kenya shilling 63. And let's see the market capitalization of KCB. The current market capitalization of KCB is 183.17 billion Kenya shillings, and the dividend yield for KCB is 6.14%. Let's now see the dividend history of this company. And this is the dividend history of KCB. The last dividend per share was 4 Kenyan shillings, and the last payment will be on November 2025. The current dividend yield is 6.14, and let's see how much this company has paid as dividend since 2018. So in 2018 and 2019, they paid Kenyan shillings 3.5 as dividend, and it dropped in 2020 and went back in 2021 to Kenya shilling 3 shillings. And in 2023, they didn't pay any dividend, but in 2024, they paid 3 shillings as shares, and this year they paid the highest amount since they started paying dividend. So currently they are paying a dividend of 4 shillings. So this is one of the companies you can look at and invest in order to have passive income in form of dividends. And let's now see the financial performance for this KCB group this year. The bank showed a strong quarterly improvement, with Q2 2025 recording Kenya shillings 22.9 billion and Q1 of 2025 at 18.6 billion, both above the 4-year quarterly average of 14.8 billion. So this is why the share of KCB has been on the upward trajectory this year. And year-to-date returns stands at an impressive 58.77%. Let's now see another reason why you should check out the KCB Group share, and that is regional expansion. KCB cross-listing on multiple East African exchanges, that is Uganda, Rwanda, and Tanzania, provide diversification and regional growth opportunities. The bank is well positioned to benefit from regional economic integration. So even though a certain country may not be performing well, KCB can do well in another country, and that is the benefit of investing across the border. And in terms of dividend appeal, the current dividend yield, I've already told you that it is sitting at 16.19% with consistent payout history. And finally, in terms of valuation opportunity, this is one of the companies that has a lower price to earning ratio, showing that it is still undervalued. So you can take advantage of that and invest in the KCB Group share. Another company that you can invest in their share is the EQTY Group Holding, and this is also another company in the banking sector. And after KCB Group, the next company in the banking sector you should look at is the EQTY Group. And EQTY Group reported 17% growth in profit after tax to Kenya shillings 34.6 billion in the first half of 2025, driven by the improved operation efficiency and strategic business transformation. The group's 4-year transformation journey is delivering consistent improvement. And in terms of regional presence, the banks operate across 6 countries with impressive performance metrics. Equity Bank Kenya achieved 28.1 return on equity, while Rwanda delivered a highest return on equity of 29.6%. So that is another company that is benefiting from investing across the borders, and this diversification reduces country-specific risk. And also, let's see the balance sheet of the EQTY Group. The total asset of equity grew by 3% to 1.8 trillion Kenya shillings, with customers' deposit reaching 1.32 trillion, and the company maintains a strong capital adequacy ratio well above the regulatory requirements. And in terms of growth recovery, despite challenging conditions, the bank loan book grew by 4% to 825.1 billion, indicating resilient lending activities. The net interest margin also improved across all the subsidiaries. And finally, in terms of market position, equity offers stability and growth potential because this is the second largest bank by market capitalization at 223.59 billion Kenyan shillings. And let's see the performance of equity share price over the years and the dividend history of the equity group. So this is the all-time equity share price performance, and as you can see, it is currently retailing at 59.5 Kenya shillings, and I think that is the all-time high of this share. And as you can see, in 2014 their share price was at 54.5 Kenya shillings, which was the all-time high, and also in 2018 it was at 55. So currently it is retailing at its highest price. And as you can see from this graph, when the share price of equity reaches the all-time high, it reverses back. So you can wait for the reverse opportunity so that you can invest in the share price of equity. And as you can see, for the last 1 year, the share price has gained by 26.6%. So let's now see the dividend history of equity group. So in terms of dividend payout, they have had a very high dividend yield of 7.17%, and the last payment was on June 30th, 2025. The dividend amount paid was 4.25 Kenya shillings, which is higher compared to that of KCB Group. So let's see how much this bank has been paying as dividend for the last 5 years. So in 2018, Equity Group paid a dividend of 2 shillings per share, but in 2019 and 2020, they never paid any dividend. But in 2021, they paid a dividend of 3 shillings, which is a rise from the 2 shillings. And in 2022 and 2023, they paid a dividend of 4 shillings, which is the all-time high of KCP. So Equity Group has been paying their dividend regularly for the last 5 years, if we compare since 2021 to the current 2025, where they have also paid a 4.25 Kenya shillings as a dividend, same case as 2024. So this is one of the other companies you should look at when it comes to investing in shares of companies in the banking sector. So when it comes to investing, always come and check out their dividend payout history. And as you can see, they pay their dividends annually from 2, 3, 4, 4, and 4.25 Kenya shillings as the annual dividend. So this is one of the companies you should look at when it comes to investing in shares in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. And let's now go into our fourth best share that you can buy today in the Nairobi Securities Exchange market, and that is East African Breweries Ltd. Their current share price is above 200 Kenya shillings. So this is one of the most expensive shares in the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And let's see the financial performance of the East African Breweries Ltd. before we go into seeing the price performance over the years and also their dividend payout history. So this company is in solid financial recovery. EABL reported a 12.2% increase in profit to 12.2 billion for the year 2025, supported by a 4% revenue growth to 128.8 billion Kenya shillings. The company has successfully navigated challenging macroeconomic conditions. As you know, this company is operating across the East African countries. And let's see the premium portfolio growth. Premium products grew by 10%, while the peer segment expanded by 4%. With the company's strategic focus on premiumization, it is paying dividends with brands like New Frontier and also established favorites like Tusker and Guinness. And let's now go into one of the things you should keep an eye on when it comes to investing in the East African Breweries Limited, and that is the potential corporate action. That is, investors' sentiment has surged due to the speculation about Diageo's potential exit from its 65% stake. So most of the shares of this East African Breweries Limited are owned by the Diageo group. So if they exit from this East African Breweries Limited, it might potentially have a significant impact on their share price. So consider taking your time and doing more research about this exit, because this company is not only exiting the East African Breweries Ltd, but also other companies in various areas in Africa. They are looking forward to reducing their stake in the African market, and East African Breweries is one of the companies that will suffer from that exit. So you should look at what will happen to East African Breweries to see if this exit will have an impact on their share. So for now, you may just put this in the watch list of the shares that you want to invest in, because they have been paying dividends regularly. And also in terms of regional expansion, they have a strong growth expected from Uganda and Tanzania subsidiaries, which could drive expansion above consensus estimate, and this regional diversification strategy reduces dependency on Kenya alone. And also in terms of dividend consistency, they declare a dividend of Kenya shillings 8 shillings, which is an increase of 14.3%, maintaining a strong dividend payout of 66.8%. And let's now see the share price performance of the East African Breweries Limited company. So you can see the share price of this company was at its all-time high back in 2013. That is over 10 years ago. It was retailing at 370 Kenya shillings. And currently the share price is at 214 Kenya shillings. And in 2024 January, it was at 105 Kenya shillings. So you can see that with the upcoming exit of the Diageo, you can keep a watch on this company so that you can invest when their share maybe drops a little bit, or you can still keep a watch on this company because you don't know what will happen if the major shareholder exits. So this is a company to watch and to take advantage of the corporate action that is about to happen. And let's see the market capitalization of this company. It is currently at 167.43 billion Kenya shillings, and the dividend yield at 3.76%. And finally, let's see the dividend payout history of the East African Breweries Limited company. So the last dividend per share was 5.5 Kenya shillings, and as of today, the dividend yield is 3.76%, and the last payment for their share will be on October 28 this year, 2025. And let's now see how this company has paid their dividend since 2019. So in 2019, they paid a dividend of 8.5 Kenya shillings, and in 2020, it dropped to 3 shillings. In 2021, they paid no dividend, but in 2022, they came back with a dividend payout of 11 shillings, which was the all-time high, and they have increasingly paid dividend since 2023, 2024, and 2025, dividends being at 8 shillings, which is a 1 shillings increase from 2024. And 5.5 is the final dividend after the interim of 2.5 back in April 2025. So this is the payout history of the East African Breweries Limited. And let's now go into our fifth best share that you can buy in Kenya today, and that is Stanbic Holdings PLC. And this is one of the other companies that has some corporate action that is about to take place. That is the merger with NCPA Bank. So before we even go into the share price performance of the Stanbic Holdings, let's see the strong capital position of this company. Stanbic maintains an excellent capital adequacy ratio of 18.6%, well above regulatory minimum of 14.5%, providing a strong buffer for growth and risk absorption. And their liquidity ratio is also 48.3%, which is more than double the statutory requirement. And in terms of strategic focus on growth segment, the bank disbursed 8.14 billion in SME funding during the first quarter of 2025, reflecting a deliberate focus on the high potential small and medium sized enterprise segment. And the active customer base also grew by 7%, indicating improved client engagement. And that's the reason why you should have a look at Stanbic Holdings. In addition to that, let's look at the non-banking revenue diversification of Stanbic Holdings. It had a strong performance from non-banking arms, with SPG Securities profit growing by 59% to Kenya shillings 23 million, and Stanbic Bank Assurance rising by 49% to 95 million Kenya shillings. And also one of the other things that makes Stanbic attractive is their dividend. It has an impressive interim dividend of 3.8 Kenya shillings per share, significantly up from 1.84 in the previous year. And the current dividend yield is 11.44%, which is among the highest in the banking sector. And finally, in terms of recovery position with the interest rate trending downwards. That is why we are having lower returns in money market fund. Stanbic is well positioned to benefit from private sector credit recovery. The bank's strong balance sheet provide a platform for sustainable medium-term performance. And let's now see the share price of Stanbic Holdings since the date of inception. As you can see, the current share price is 199, which is the all-time high, and this company has been on the upward trajectory in terms of their share price, with this year share gaining by 64.8%. So this is one of the other companies that you should look at, and there's high probability that the share price will still go high with the acquisition of the NCPA bank. So go and watch out what is happening between Stanbic Holding and NCPA bank, because this company is likely to benefit in terms of capital gain when it acquires NCPA bank. And the current market capitalization of Stanbic Holding is 78.67 billion Kenya shillings, with a dividend yield at 11.41%. So this is one of the companies that has the highest dividend yield in the banking sector. And let's now see the dividend history of Stanbic Holding. And as you can see from this graph, their dividend payout has been on the rise since 2020. So the last dividend per share was 3.8 Kenya shillings, and the payment was on 29th September 2025. And let's see how much they have been paying as dividends since 2018. So you can see in 2018 it started at 5.8 Kenya shillings, and it has been on the rise, but in 2020 it dropped, maybe due to the COVID-19, and in 2021 it came back with an increase of around 2 shillings since 2019 to 9 Kenya shillings, and since then they have paid good amount of dividend. And with the acquisition of NCPA that is likely to happen, the amount of dividends that this bank is going to pay out is likely to increase. And as you can see, they pay in form of interim and final. So currently the September dividend was an interim, so we expect a final dividend next year. So this is one of the other companies that has paid dividend regularly, and you can invest in this company for you to gain some passive income. And watch out what is going to happen to their share price suppose they actually acquire the NCPA bank. And those are the best 5 shares that you can invest in today in Kenya. And I hope you have been able to gain some insights of the best shares that you can invest in here in Kenya today. That is Safaricom shares, Equity Bank, KCB Bank, the East African Breweries company, and also Stanbic Holding. So go and do some research about them. And also, if you have been able to learn something from this video, just subscribe and like it. And let me see you in the next video.